Okay guys, so we just talked about our neural or our neurological stopping or stoppages, our stopping power. So now we're going to talk about hydraulics. So I already talked about how our shot placement, our opening multiple holes, and our bigger, faster, fatter, heavier rounds matter, especially when we start talking about hydraulics. So hydraulic, what we mean is a hydraulic stoppage is a lack of oxygen to the brain that shuts the body down. Now this comes about by a couple of ways. The most common way associated is simply blood loss. If you don't have enough blood volume in your body to carry oxygen to the brain and to the other tissues, the body will start to shut down. Now obviously it can and does die from that, but incrementally it will start to lose function within there. So people who are shot and they start to go out of it a little bit, or just bad wounds, cut themselves with a table saw, something like that. So loss of blood volume due to loss of blood. And the other one that's associated with that most commonly is when we actually puncture the lungs or the trachea in there, and so while the body can breathe and the heart can pump, we're actually not getting as much oxygen into the blood because the lungs are not able to fill to capacity. So this can happen by actually penetrating the lungs, with a round or with a knife, whatever it is. It can happen from things like a broken rib puncturing a lung, or it could be from something like tension pneumothorax, where we get a sucking chest wound, and the pressure of the air inside of the chest cavity pushing down on the lungs makes it so the person can't breathe deeply enough, cannot get enough oxygen into the lungs to get it into the blood, to get it into the brain. And one other way associated with that is if we take a shot right here to the neck, on the trachea, and so when we actually, essentially we've got a freaking leak in the tire. So while we can breathe, we're losing the air out of our windpipe, out of our trachea there. So when it comes to hydraulic stoppages, this is where opening multiple holes becomes extremely important, and where smaller, easier to handle rounds definitely have a big advantage here, because we talked about there's no guaranteed timeline on when a person may expire from this. So we typically say humans can handle about 40% blood loss before they'll actually go down from something hydraulic. Individual people may be tougher, not quite as tough, but there's going to be a loss of function incrementally in there, but we don't know exactly person to person. So if we take that same example I used, we were talking neurological, we're talking about the hose. So if we poke one hole in that garden hose, the water's going to run out, that's good. If I poke 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 holes in there, it's going to run out that much faster. So same thing here. So we want those high center of chest hits, all right, and we want multiple hits to try to get that person to expire faster, and so that we can get a quicker stoppage. So again, no guaranteed timeline on that, but that's why we center all of our shots right here. If we affect the actual cardiac tissue of the heart, it can't pump as powerfully, it loses the ability to get the blood out. We affect the lungs, we can't get the oxygen in there, and then in with the heart and behind the lungs, we have things like the aorta, the abdominal aorta. We've got both of the carotid arteries, the jugular, up and through there. We've got subclavians and all that, so a lot of blood vessels to go through. So multiple holes and good shot placement high on the center of the chest when we're talking about our hydraulic stoppages.